Hi, Monarchs. I'm Dr. Barry Gribbins, president of LA Valley College, joining you for another town hall. I have a few updates for you. And right after I get to the updates, I'll answer as many questions as I can. At any time, feel free to type in your questions into the chat, then we'll get to the Q&A. First, the updates that I have for you. The first relates to the Promise program. For all of the new students out there that are joining us, we do have a Promise program that can waive enrollment fees for you. I'd encourage you to participate. The one major requirement is that you're enrolled full-time. In addition to getting your enrollment fees waived, there are a lot of elements to the program to help ensure that you're successful. So it's a terrific program. Check it out. I'll ask staff to post into the chat information about how to enroll into the Promise program. And the requirements have been expanded a bit this year, so more and more folks are eligible. Essentially, all new students are eligible to participate in the Promise program that are enrolled full-time. Once you're enrolled into the program, then we'll walk you through all the different requirements. The second update that I have for you relates to the enrollment fair that's coming up. This Saturday, we'll have another in-person enrollment fair. Essentially, every week we'll have an enrollment fair for students to help register for classes and get access to counselors. Those enrollment fairs will be on different days of the week. One of them will be virtual. So keep an eye out for information from the college about the enrollment fairs, the specific days and times. But the next one is this Saturday, the 13th at 9 a.m. That'll be from 9 to 1 o'clock. It'll be a wonderful opportunity to talk with a counselor, get help from admissions and records, and contact many of the different offices on campus. So if you are having a challenge connecting with a counselor, please come on out this Saturday and to the enrollment fair. We'll also have some food and some giveaways, so that'll be a terrific opportunity. The next update that I have for you relates to the fall semester. Actually, a couple of updates related to the fall semester. We still have lots of classes for students to enroll in, though those seats are going quickly. Enrollment is up compared to last year. So please do take advantage of the classes by enrolling as soon as you can. If you have any questions, again, this Saturday is a terrific opportunity the 13th to get any questions that you have answered. For the fall semester related to COVID, I have a couple of updates for you. Masks are not required this fall semester for in-person classes, though, of course, we do strongly encourage folks to wear masks, and vaccines similarly are not required to enroll in fall classes, though we do strongly encourage folks to get vaccinated for both COVID and for the flu. The last update that I have for you relates to CSUN. On August 24th, CSUN is going to have an in-person event on campus to help those interested in transferring to CSUN. It'll be from 10 to 2, so if you have interest in transferring to Cal State Northridge, please come out August 24th, and they'll have on-site admissions. With that, let me go to the chat and see what questions that you all might have. The first question is from Daniel about the Writing Center reopening for in-person tutoring. Let me ask staff to post into the chat a link to the Writing Center website where it'll have more information about the tutoring services, including both in-person and virtual. Daniel posted a question about the campus radio station. Where will it be located, and what's the latest on the construction? The radio station will be located in the Valley Academic and Cultural Center. That's the new building that's being constructed on the north end of campus along Oxnard. I don't have a scheduled open date for it yet, but the radio station that'll be located inside of it's going to be terrific. Next question is from Karina. Can students enrolled in fall 22 expect another federal stimulus grant again? We don't have any information on additional federal grants this upcoming year. There have been federal stimulus grants the last 2 years during the pandemic, but there is no information about new stimulus for the upcoming year. Daniel, when will bookstore post required books for the fall semester? You can always contact the bookstore directly, give them a call or sending them an email with questions about specific textbooks. Oftentimes the required textbooks will already be posted with the class. If you're having a hard time finding out the information about what the required textbook is, I would encourage you to either email the instructor or email the bookstore as soon as you can, and they can provide you more information. You should be able to get information about how to contact either the bookstore or your instructors from the college website, lavc.edu, but you're of course always welcome to call the college phone number as well. Questions about options to attend classes if not vaccinated. Vaccination is not required this year for students. Employees will be required to be vaccinated, but students are no longer required to be vaccinated to enroll in in-person classes. Of course, I strongly recommend to students to be vaccinated for both COVID and the flu, but it is not required. There's a question from Tina about when will folks be able to see which child development classes will be offered in the winter semester. The schedule for the winter intersession is not posted quite yet. It's still in development, but later in the fall semester, the schedule for winter classes will be posted. If you have any questions about that though, you can contact the department chair, and oftentimes they can give a heads up about what's planned for the winter intersession. Also, oftentimes one can look at the previous winter intersession. While from semester to semester classes do change, or year to year classes do change. Oftentimes from looking at past semesters, one can see what are common courses offered in winter intersessions. A question from Joshua about study abroad and which countries do we offer. We do have students participating in study abroad programs. I'll ask staff to post into the chat more details about our study abroad program so you can find out more details. I know this summer we had students over in Europe. It is a terrific program, terrific way of traveling and getting to know other cultures. And in the process, learning a lot of new information. And let me check the chat for any additional questions. A question from Christina about how to get a Metro Pass. Christina, to get a Metro Pass, let me have staff post information into the chat about how to get that. For folks who aren't aware, for the past 6 months, the college has had free Metro Passes. Those were good not just to get to and from the college, but students with the free Metro Pass from Valley College were able to ride the Metro all the way through the end of the calendar year. So all the way through December 31st, students are able to ride for free. And we'll post into the chat more information about how to access a Metro Pass. Samuel is asking about getting ID cards, and Samuel, you'll be able to get that from Student Services, and I'll ask again staff to post into the chat more details about how to pick up your student ID card. And let me check out, see if there's more questions. A question from Jess. I enrolled for a class when there were spots available, but now I appear to be waitlisted. Jess, there's two things that you could do. Oftentimes when you're waitlisted, seats will open up, but if you want to play it safe, you could always look for another section of the same course and enroll in that course. If there are no other sections with seats available, then I would encourage you to hang tight in the class that you have. But oftentimes, there are other sections of the same course that you can enroll in. Question about when the fall semester starts. The fall semester starts August 29th. So everyone has just about 3 weeks until the fall semester starts. This is a perfect time to pick up any additional classes that you may need, get prepared for the upcoming semester, purchasing all your textbooks and other required materials. Also, I'd encourage you to check out the Academic Resource Center website, the ARC website. It has a lot of great information about how to be successful in college. And let me check for some additional questions. A question from Michael: I've enrolled in my classes. Is there anything else that you need to do? This is your first year. Michael, one thing that you could do is check out the online orientation. It'll have some great information about the being a college student, as well as the Academic Resource Center, which also has some terrific information about different resources. You are all set. One does also need to make sure that your enrollment fees are paid. But assuming that you're enrolled and your enrollment fees are waived or paid, then you should be set. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're interested in finding out if there's financial aid available to you, the College Promise is a terrific program. Students participating in the Promise program have all of their enrollment fees waived regardless of income. And then I'd also encourage folks to complete either the FAFSA or the DREAM Act application to find out what additional resources might be available for college. And let me check. The next question is related to Saturday's enrollment fair. Can I make an appointment to see a counselor, or is it first come, first serve? It is first come, first serve. Typically, staff has done a terrific job of helping reduce the wait times in the most recent enrollment fairs. They've been identifying groups of students who have general questions and helping them, like what should they enroll in for the fall semester, and taking those students in groups to help provide the information that they need. But the number of counselors available also has been a huge help for students. So the enrollment fair is a terrific opportunity to connect with counselors. A question from Galaxy: is parking free or do I have to pay? Parking is free for the fall semester, so no need to purchase a parking permit for the fall semester. A question from Jess: when is the last day we can get into the Promise program? Jess, enrollment in the Promise program generally is open, but I would encourage you to sign up for it as soon as possible, and they can make sure that your fees are squared away, as well as get you connected with some success programs. A question from Autumn about what do we do about parking, where to park if student, non-student. Autumn, for parking, it is free for the fall semester. There's no permit that's needed. The only thing that folks need to know is to avoid parking in staff spaces. All the staff spaces are marked. So if it's not marked as a staff space, or of course a handicap spot, feel free to park. But we have several parking lots, as well as the parking structure off of Ethel. And we generally have terrific parking. So it's rare that we ever run out of parking spaces in Lot A, as well as the parking structure. A question from John about classes that still have times to be announced. Is there a common deadline? Oftentimes, if it says to be determined for the class times and class days, the class is an online asynchronous class. So that means it's a class that you can access the content and lecture at any time. You don't have to connect live with the instructor at a set time and location. But if you want to confirm all those details, it's terrific to reach out to the instructor and ask questions. When the class meets, the instructor also will have a syllabus And almost always the details about class meeting times and days, as well as how to access content online, is included in the syllabus. A question about only taking English classes, and can you take other classes as well? Yes, absolutely. You can, of course, take additional classes. A great way to find out what classes that you should take is to connect with a counselor and talk about your educational goals, as well as what previous courses you've taken, and the counselor can help steer you to the best courses for you. And if you need to connect with a counselor, a great way to do so is to come out to the enrollment fair this Saturday, the 13th, and counselors will be available. If you're not available this Saturday, we do have additional enrollment fairs on different days, and one of them will be remotely. That'll be available each week until the start of the fall semester on August 29th. A question from Emily: do we have to pay enrollment fees before the 29th? Yes, enrollment fees are due before the 29th, and you should get more information about that in the student portal. So if you access the student portal, it should have additional information for you about the enrollment fees, the total amount owed, and the time that it's due. If you have any questions, I'd encourage you to contact our business office or stop by anytime, and they'll be happy to help you over the phone or in person. And of course, you can always email the business office if you have questions about your fees. A question from Alex: is it possible that we could go back to Zoom if the monkeypox outbreak becomes a much more serious and how COVID broke out? Alex, it is possible that we could be going back to Zoom. Right now, it doesn't look like monkeypox transmits like COVID transmits. So it's not likely that the LA County Department of Public Health would issue a health order requiring all instruction to happen online and to not allow in-person instruction. We, of course, do follow the LA County Department of Public Health health orders, and will continue to follow those. So as there's changes with any health conditions, whether it's COVID or anything else, we're closely monitoring the LA County Department of Public Health orders, and we'll be adjusting as their orders change. Question from Desiree about what is the DREAM Act application? The California DREAM Act is an application to help dreamers have access to enrollment fee waivers. Most folks can apply for federal financial aid by completing the FAFSA, the federal financial aid, student aid paperwork. But for dreamers, they oftentimes aren't eligible for FAFSA. So California created the California DREAM Act application to provide dreamers with access to enrollment fee waivers if they qualify. A question from Desh about where to go to find out what books you need. Oftentimes that information is available when you enroll in the course. But if you have questions about which textbooks that are needed for a course, a great resource is to call the bookstore. A question from Docs Chan about how do I know if I got accepted into the Promise program? Generally speaking, we accept all new students who are enrolled full-time into the Promise program. There are different requirements to stay in the Promise program, and you'll get more information about that. But if you have questions, I'd encourage you to reach out to the Promise program directly, and they can check to make sure that you're all set. Information about how to contact the Promise program is available on our website, lavc.edu, but I'll also ask staff to post a link into the chat. Another question, also from Docs Chan: should I go to the transfer center at the start of the semester when to plan to transfer to a four-year? So if you're interested in transferring to a four-year institution, and I hope that many of you are, It's terrific to start the planning early. The transfer center is a terrific source of information about four-year universities. Oftentimes, though, folks will start with their counselor. They'll connect with the counseling department, find out information about program completion requirements and other options. So you might be interested in connecting first with the general counseling and then to contact the transfer center. But it's always a terrific idea to connect with both to help make sure you have as much information as possible. And the next question, do all classes post in Canvas in the student portal? If so, when do they typically add information? Most classes use Canvas to provide information. Almost all classes do. All of our online classes use Canvas. So it's a terrific resource. The Canvas portal is a terrific resource for students. And I would encourage you to check that out. A question about waiving enrollment fees. Will they be waived once you complete the Promise program requirements? And that's exactly right. But the more details about the Promise program are available on the website. And I'd encourage you to reach out to the Promise program once you've signed up so that they can make sure that they have all the information that they need from you. A question from Arisha on, do we get a stimulus for this fall semester? Arisha, while we've been able to provide federal stimulus checks available the last 2 years, there is not information from the government, the federal government, on a new stimulus program for the upcoming year. So not for the upcoming year, similarly to the programs that were available to the last 2 years. Question, will you be able to purchase textbooks during the in-person registration day? I do believe that the bookstore is going to be open on Saturday, but I will check with staff and ask them to post that into the chat. In the previous enrollment fairs, we have had the bookstore available, but let me double check for this Saturday and have staff post into the chat the hours of the bookstore. A question, is it required to talk to a counselor after I send my AP scores? It's not required to check with a counselor, but I do strongly encourage all students to connect with a counselor their first semester here at Valley, and to continue to connect with counselors throughout your time at Valley until you've completed your degree and transfer if you're interested in transferring. A great first step is to come out to the enrollment fair where you can access a counselor, and they will be able to answer any basic questions that you might have, including specific questions to your situation. A question from Daniel, terrific question from Daniel. What if you're in a class where the instructor's name is not yet shown in the catalog? When will the professor be assigned? And this is for a communications class. There are some situations where classes have not been assigned an instructor yet. In those cases, Academic Affairs is quickly looking to add the instructors. And if you have any questions about a class, especially a new class that's just been created, you can always contact the Academic Affairs office to find out more information about the instructor that's being assigned to it. And let me check to see if we have any additional questions. I think we might be caught up on questions. A question from Jess about the difference between enrollment date and registration date. And generally those are synonymous. Right now we're in a period where everyone can enroll in classes. So everyone is welcome to at any time. This Saturday is a special in-person event, an enrollment fair where staff from a variety of departments, including counseling and admissions and records, are available to answer students' questions. Question from Joanna, is the financial aid office open this week? And Joanna, yes, financial aid is open this week and staff's available. There's different ways of contacting the financial aid office. You can contact them by phone, email. They also have some opportunities to video chat with them as well. Check out the financial aid website and it can give you more information about the hours that they're open. With that, I think we're all caught up with the questions. I look forward to seeing you on campus. Hopefully many of you will be able to come out on Saturday. Thank you for all of the questions. Reach out to us and let us know if there's anything that you need. If you have any questions, we're here for the sole purpose of supporting you, making sure you have a terrific experience here at Valley College and are successful in proceeding to your educational goals. Thanks, everybody. Have a terrific start of the fall semester.